welcome to Velocity Podcast. Today I am very excited because this week marks my 7th anniversary as Purple Bean Media, and I am here with 7 lessons that I've learned over the last 7 years. So let's dive right into it. First of all, if you're considering starting a business, do it. It's the best. So 7 lessons I have learned in business. Number 1, no one loves talking about themselves. It's uncomfortable, whether you're in a networking setting, whether you're online on a camera, it just doesn't feel right. But when people do that, they end up hurting themselves. Here's the thing, you need to be able to talk about yourself. You need to be able to talk about your service or your products, and you need to be able to point people in the right direction. They need to know where they can go to learn about you, to buy your product or service, how to contact you. So many people are not good at just at talking. One of the best things I ever did for my business happened within the first week of my business. I joined a networking group called Brand Business Builders, and every single week we have to get up and for 1 minute talk about ourselves. For some people it comes a little more naturally, they're more outgoing, they're extroverted, whatever, they're used to talking in front of people. For me, it was nerve-wracking. I literally would write down what I was gonna say, and I would be shaking, and I'd be like, it was a painful process. But after a while, weekly, getting up and doing it over and over and over again, it became second nature. So then one thing I really noticed, so then it became a little more comfortable when I was in this familiar group with the people I see every single week. And then when I went to other networking things, or I met people through work, or just like hanging out with friends or whatever, and someone said, "What do you do?" I have this quick little elevator pitch that I say without thinking. I don't stumble over my words. I don't wonder what I do. I'm not like, I don't know what to share, what to say. I know exactly what to do. Hey, my name is Sherri, Barna. Yeah, I own Purple Bean Media, which is a digital marketing company. If you ever want to grow your brand, increase your sales, get that phone ringing, we can help you do that by getting eyes on your brand. Just connect with me. My website is purplebeanmedia.com. All my information's on there. That's basically the gist of it. It's really easy. It's really second nature. But again, because it's not comfortable to always be talking about yourself, or, really, how often do you practice that? How often do you meet new people? You need to get these things down pat. You need to know who you are, where people can contact you, why you exist, and then depending on the person, you talk differently to them. So someone who's older, and I might not be like, go to my website, I might be like, hey, can I have your phone? I could put my phone number in there. So it kind of changes based on that. But I'm very comfortable with explaining what I do, how to reach me, and how I can help a person. Okay, so that's lesson 1. Know how to speak about yourself, know how to point people in the right direction, let people know exactly what you offer, and how to contact you. Lesson number 2 is something that I knew going into this, but it became very evident in my years for myself and for watching competitors, from watching other businesses grow. Number 2, brand is everything. Brand is everything. A good brand is why people are spending $30 on a pair of Nike socks versus $2 or $6. Think about it. Everything we do is driven by brand. So something I talk about often, and if you've ever heard me speak, you've probably heard me speak about this, the mere exposure effect. So the mere exposure effect is we like something just because we see it often. So the example I always use is you go to the gas station, you get your gas, you walk in, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get a drink. So you turn towards the wall of 1,000 drinks. Do you actually look at all the drinks? I don't. I walk in and I narrow it down to, I know what I'm grabbing, a nice cold Coke. And that's what I get every time. I've never sat back and been like, oh my gosh, they have like 17 brands of water. Oh my goodness, they have lots of cola, not just Coke. Gatorade, Prime, whatever. I never do that. I go to what I'm familiar with. This is the essence of brand. People go with what they're familiar with. The other part of brand is just, you might have a solid brand where you're like, hey, people are willing to pay for quality, my quality product or my quality service. If If your clients are driven just by price point, then as soon as someone is cheaper than you, even if it's by $10, they will go and work with them. So you don't want to be the lowest price on the block. You don't want to be the person who just focuses only on price, and you don't want to draw customers based on price, because you will lose those same people due to that. What you want to do is create a really strong brand. Now, I've gotten customers because of my brand. I put a certain foot forward that I want people to like associate me with. I like having fun. A lot of my meetings take places on patios in the nice warm weather. And I've literally had clients being like, you know what, I don't want to always meet in my office. I want to like break free. Like, I want my own business. Why am I stuck here? I like what you're doing over here. And there's certain parts of my brand that people literally will be like, the reason I chose you is because, and they name something that's associated with my brand. That makes me very happy, because I don't do things necessarily willy-nilly. I put thought into my brand. I put thought into it. I try and grow it. I try and cement that idea with posts, with videos, with podcasts, when I'm in person, I'm meeting people. I want everyone to know what my brand is about. So that's incredibly important. Lesson number 3 of my 7 years is consistency builds trust. That is so important. Consistency on any level, whether you are showing up weekly or monthly to your networking meetings. If you consistently deliver a great product or consistently deliver a great service, if you're consistently treating your customers as if they're actually human, as if they're important to you, and not as a number, not as a paycheck. This is a quality that actually differentiates people between honestly, the good and the bad. Whether you're working out, eating healthy, whatever you're doing, you don't want to wait for that big, like, oh, I'm feeling so motivated today. I'm feeling so creative. If I waited for creative days, I would probably work only 4 or 5 days out of the year. Like, there's only a handful of days where I'm like, I woke up and I have ideas today. The rest, I'm like at my desk, I already did my morning routine, like I'm in my office, I have my coffee, and I'm like, okay, here's what I need to do today. And then I go through it. That consistent routine really, really helps me. And it builds even trust with myself, because I know I'm not gonna like flake out or like choose to do something else, or if my phone rings, I'm not gonna jump up and change my whole day. My consistency builds trust with myself, but then it also obviously goes to clients. They know who they could trust. They know like, hey, listen, if I said I'm gonna get it done, you're gonna get it, trust me. And that is really important. When it comes to owning your own business, this is why I think consistency is so important to me. Like I would have said, like, prior to owning my business, yeah, it's really important to be motivated. You need to make the choice to do what you say you're going to do. I don't have a boss. I don't have to show up at 9 o'clock every morning. I could literally roll out of bed at, well, I couldn't because I have kids, but I could potentially like come in here at noon and work for 2 hours. And like, who's gonna say anything? Right? Well, I know I can't operate like that. I know I like, first of all, actually coming to my office versus working from home, because it makes me a better worker. I have a lot better production. I'm just way better here. So these consistent actions are really important, because again, I have no boss. I have no one to hold me accountable. I don't have anyone over my head, and I have no one demanding things from me except for clients, of course. So how do I be the best I can be? How do I deliver the best service? I'm consistently showing up. I'm consistently, putting my best foot forward. I'm consistently always learning, There's so many things. Consistency is the name of the game. And at the end of the day, that's what will build trust with your clients. If you're constantly delivering high quality products or services, then when they call you again, they're not going to wonder. They're not going to haggle over the price. They're going to be like, no, she consistently shows up. I know she's going to do it. So that is something that I really, really learned over the last, and also not only for me to be consistent, but to do work with consistent people. I have met people who are just geniuses. Like, they can program anything, they can draw anything, they can, you know, take the best pictures. If they're not consistent, they're hard to work with. And I rather go with someone who's less talented but will show up and do what they say than someone who's like incredibly talented, but maybe you get it this month, maybe it's next month, you never quite know, you know. So consistency is so important. Lesson number 4 is nurture your, did I just do this before? Sorry. Number 4, nurture your network. Your network is your net worth. I've heard that a lot in, like, you know, the business circles. It is so true. So I see this a lot when it comes to the digital marketing side of things, e-newsletter, videos, you know, social media, but this is really, really applicable to real life too. You can't only show up one time and expect people to remember your name, your business name, how to contact you, what services you offer, what products you offer. It just doesn't happen. You need to constantly be getting out there, constantly sharing your message, always on, always there, always promoting yourself, like video, in person, whatever it is. Once you have your network of people, you need to woo them. It's kind of like dating. I actually want to write a book, like everything I learned about business, I learned from dating. Because it's like in the dating world, you can't just like give someone your number and never follow up with them again if you really, really like them. You're going to naturally want to reach out and be like, hey, thinking about you today, or whatever. I don't know if people do nowadays, but it's true. Like, you need to nurture your network, because the other thing I know is that someone might meet you and really like you, and they're just not quite ready yet to pull the trigger. So they might wait. I've had people watch my videos for months and then just not like it, not comment, I have no idea they're watching, and then say, I've been watching you for months, let's talk. So the same thing happens in person. You might show up all the time, high energy, ready to go, ready to be helpful, like, you know, in these situations, and people are watching from afar. You know, you could have an off day and treat someone really poorly, and that might be the first impression of you. That's not nurturing your network. Just because they're not ready to be your client yet, you always have to be prepared to show up. So nurture your network. Again, this is not brand new information. I've heard this phrase before, but it is very true. Take time to woo the people. If there are certain people, there's certain people I want to work with. I have a list that I'm like, I want to work with these people. So what do? I follow them on social media. I like their posts. I'm nurturing that connection, because when they're ready to say yes, I want to be there. I want to be the name that they think of, because they're like, oh, you know what? She was really, really great when we worked on this other project for the city together. Or, you know what? She's always there in my feed, commenting and stuff like that. So that's just an easy way where you can nurture your network without going like too far out of your way. Lesson number 5, you need to balance passion with patience. This was a hard lesson for me. I remember the first day I was like, okay, I'm going to start Purple Bean Media. I'm like, I'm just going to call people, tell people, because I did marketing prior. This was not like my first kick of the can when it comes to marketing and digital marketing and all that. I'm just going to call people and let them know what my experience was and how I can help them. So phone call. I made 10 in a row, 10 no's, just 10 like no. And I was kind of like, oh, because I was expecting people to be like, this is wonderful. And again, this is in 2017. So not a lot of people, there were a lot of people online, but it was still kind of newish. Just 10 no's in a row, like 20 minutes, 10 no's. It was discouraging. My passion was there. My patience was not, because then I was like, should I not quit my job? Should I? So patience is the name of the game. This kind of goes back to my last point about nurturing. We live in a microwave society where it's like, we want something, boom, we press a button. We want something, we order it. We want to hear a song, we put it online. We don't have to listen for commercials. On TV, we don't watch for commercials. It's crazy. Everything is instant. Well, that does seep into our souls, and I think patience is like an amazing virtue that everybody needs. It's something that I try and actively work on. The reason why it's hard is because we want success now, and I have the passion to make it happen now. And I'm so thankful that I was like, you know what, I'm playing for 50-year-old Sherri. I wrapped my head around that early on. Maybe it was the lesson of the 10 no's, but I was just like, okay, I'm not worried about like, 32, 33-year-old Sherri. I'm not worried about this year. I want real money when I'm like 45 and 50. So what do I have to do? So that kind of put the brakes on naturally for me, because I am like a like if someone's like, we should do an event, I'm like, let's do it next week. We can do it next week. Let's get this moving. It's not natural for me to be like, no, we're going to take our time. We're going to plan. I really have to fight that. And I have to have people in my organizations that kind of like are like, whoa, 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 we can't do that. Don't overpromise there. Patience is a virtue. So the problem with passion is you get so fired up, you want it to happen now. But I find that people quit way too early. And I've seen it in even some of my own competition. People will call me up, I'm thinking about doing like this marketing agency, da da da. And I'll be like, yeah, can I sit and talk with you? I'm like, yeah, 100%. And they get burnt out within 3 months because their passion is there, but the patience is. So what they wanted to like do, the markers they wanted to hit, maybe financial goals or whatever, it doesn't happen. And then they get discouraged and they end up quitting, as opposed to being like, hey man, one foot in front of the other. I'm 1% better today. When I look back over the last 7 years, I am, at the risk of sounding like so like conceited and cocky, I'm really impressed with things. Now I don't see them on the day-to-day. I only see it when I look back and I see the overall arch, like the 40,000 foot view. When you're in the weeds, it's hard to be like, wow, this was a really good year. You're just plowing ahead. So anyway, all that to say, passion is amazing, but you need to balance passion with patience. And again, that's easier for some people than others. Number 6, my 6th lesson that really guides me throughout my entrepreneurial journey is flexibility is key. You have to be flexible when you are in business. You do not know what's around the corner, and COVID taught us that. I don't want to harp too much on the COVID thing. That was a year where 2020 was like all of a sudden everything changed. Hey, you can't go to the office, this is happening, you got all this stress, you have all this panic that's in the world around you, whether or not you're panicking, it's still there. And just being flexible was such a character trait that has really helped me. The people who needed the structure and they needed like 1 + 1 = 2, they had a hard time adjusting, or in general, they have a hard time adjusting when things don't go exactly their way. But listen, when you're in business, guess who you're dealing with? Other people. You're dealing with other people in business, whether it's employees or whether it's your clients or whoever's selling or customers, you're dealing with people. When you deal with people, you need to be flexible, because people don't necessarily they're not robots. They don't necessarily stick to the structure or whatever. When it comes to flexibility, and this is what I look for even when I'm looking at clients, I want a little bit of flexibility. I want people to be able to move a little bit without it kind of like sending anyone into a tailspin. Flexibility is one of the most important traits. I honestly think, I want to even say human traits. I don't know, I might be speaking too boldly. I haven't really thought about that. But you got to move. You got to roll with the punches. You know what? Today I had a plan in mind. It got sideswiped. Last week, a huge server went down, huge server. Well, guess what happened? I think it was a Thursday. Guess what happened to me Thursday? I had in my calendar, I went to do this. This is happening here, this is happening here. I'm going to do this, whatever. I had my little to-do list. A server crashed, which means people's emails went down and people's websites went down. Now, I wasn't like, guys, I don't have room today because I have a to-do list that I really want to get done. I'll deal with it next Wednesday. No, I had to be flexible because this is really important, and shift things around to get everybody's website back online or whatever. That was helpful, because you know what my clients did? They were like, okay, you got it? And I was like, yep, let me do some research. I'm going to get onto this. And then I just communicated, hey, blah, 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 this happens. And I just got a note from the company. You're fixing it right now. Once they're done their side, we'll go into our end and connect whatever we need to connect again, whatever. I don't want to get too technical there, but the key is the flexibility. So I had an idea for my day and something happens. That happens. And happens to our clients too, and people we work with, employees that we're trying to deal with. You got to be flexible. You got to be able to roll with the punches, because people are watching too. They're watching how you react. And anyway, so that's all I'll say about flexibility. I love flexibility. And lesson number 7, and this is a huge one for me, is you will grow when you stretch yourself. If you stay in your little box, you won't grow as a person, as a business. like anything. I always tell people I'm an introvert, and they're like, no, wait, like I see you here, I see you there, you're talking here, you have a video, whatever. I'm like, no, I'm an introvert in an extroverted role. I literally told someone that today. I'm an introvert in an extroverted role, which means I have to stretch myself. You know, the first time I walked into the Brand Business Builders meeting, I took like a huge deep breath and I was like, what am I going to talk about with all these strangers? And went into the meeting. And you know what? It was hard. And it wasn't exactly like a fun time because it was intense. And again, I'm an introvert. I don't love meeting new people. The next week, it was still hard. The following week, still hard. And then finally, it just got a little bit easier because then I knew some people's names and I'm comfortable when I walk into a room and I know people. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to go to a chamber meeting. And went into guess what? I took a big deep breath and I'm like, if I meet one new person, that's a win for me. So I constantly was stretching myself. Now I still kind of have like moments where I'm like, take the breath, go meet a new person. But honestly, it got a lot easier because I stretched myself. I pushed myself. I was like, listen, hey, you want money, you got to do hard things. Do hard things. You can do it. Don't use yourself as an excuse. Don't put yourself in a corner. Yeah, you might be an introvert. Push yourself out there. Hey, you're an extrovert. Zip it and actually listen for once in your life. Try new things because I'm telling you, you will grow not only as a person, but as a business. If I stayed in my little box, I know exactly where I would be. I'd be still in year one making, I don't know, like $30,000. You need to grow. You need to try new things. And you know what? If this isn't working or you're at a standstill and the status quo is not like helping you grow, shift. So some people are really good at networking in person and they don't do video. Push yourself, get on camera, do something different because then you're gonna get different results. Yeah, status quo, yeah. If you have these things in practice and they like help you and whatever, great. Just add something new to the mix. And I challenge myself, I won't say monthly, but like a few times a year, I wonder, okay, have I tried, you know, am I just doing the status quo? Am I just doing what I'm doing? Like, is this a good ROI? Should I be, you know, trying something else? And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. My podcast, I know I'm not a podcaster. I know my setup's pretty basic. I'm no Joe Rogan or anything like that. But I'm like, you know what? Just do it. It's going to give you content. It's going to get eyes on you. You're going to be able to interview cool people and meet people who like have different views on things and can teach you some things. It will grow your network because of that. There was a ton of reasons to do this. Now, to take time out of my schedule, to edit, to upload, to remember to do it, to make the appointments, to have something to say when I'm talking to a camera and not to anyone else for 20 minutes is hard. But I stretched myself. If you go back to probably watch the first podcast, I'm sure it's really horrible and chunky and probably I'm like, you know, grasping at straws to talk. Now it's I think I'm 39, maybe this is my 40th episode in. It's a lot easier to just make it happen, press play. It's a lot easier to edit. Stretch yourself, you will see the results. So I hope those 7 lessons helped you. I'm looking forward to 7 more. I can't wait to keep going on this entrepreneurial journey. I've absolutely loved it. And I tell people all the time, if you're thinking about starting a job, like a side hustle, or like you're jumping off the cliff and going both feet in, come talk to me. Not for marketing per se, but just because I want to encourage you and help you along the journey. It is an amazing one. And there's a lot of lessons I've learned, but these are the 7 that came to my head when I was preparing for this. And yeah, 7 years, Purple Bean Media. And it's going better than I imagined. And thank you for watching. If you, like I said, need anything, message me.